Donald Trump's latest statements about his supposed efforts to end the Russia-Ukraine war and his ongoing communications with Vladimir Putin raise more questions than they answer. On one hand, Trump claims to be making progress in the peace process, yet offers no concrete details on how, or even if, these discussions are advancing. The vagueness of his comments, paired with his refusal to provide specifics about the frequency or timing of his conversations with Putin, only deepens the mystery of whether these talks are substantive or merely for show. Trump's suggestion that he has been in direct communication with Putin since taking office raises serious concerns. While he hints at a role in pushing for peace, his approach seems more about personal diplomacy than a coherent strategy for a lasting solution. The lack of transparency about the content of these conversations, especially given Putin's ruthless approach to the war, does little to build confidence. It's one thing to claim you're in talks. It's another to explain how those talks could lead to a breakthrough in such a volatile and entrenched conflict. What's more troubling is the apparent lack of a clear plan. Trump repeatedly asserts that he wants to end the war, but offers no concrete ideas on how to achieve this. The ambiguity surrounding his proposed talks with Putin, where and when they would take place, under what conditions, and with what leverage, suggests that this initiative is more about grandstanding than real diplomatic effort. After all, the Ukrainian people are fighting for their sovereignty, and making vague promises about peace without offering practical solutions is not only irresponsible, but could be seen as undermining the resolve of those already on the front lines. The conflict of interest concerns also cannot be ignored. Musk's involvement in Pentagon contracts and Trump's potential cozy relationship with Putin risk turning this diplomatic endeavor into a self-serving political move rather than a genuine effort for peace. Trump's tendency to blur the lines between business and diplomacy is alarming, especially when national security is at stake. Then there's the troubling role of outside actors like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, who have been mentioned as potential venues for a summit between Trump and Putin. These countries, while influential, have their own agendas, ones that may not align with the interests of Ukraine or the U.S. By choosing such unconventional venues, Trump risks placing the U.S. in a vulnerable position, using international diplomacy for personal or geopolitical gain rather than achieving real progress in the conflict. Perhaps the most telling part of Trump's remarks is his continued insistence on meeting with Putin at an appropriate time. This sounds more like a political tactic, one that is intended to play to his base and portray him as a peacemaker, rather than an actionable foreign policy initiative. Meanwhile, the war continues to devastate Ukraine, with no sign of an imminent resolution. In the end, Trump's approach to the Russia-Ukraine war appears to be more about optics than substance. While he may want to project an image of being the man who can broker peace, the reality is that his strategy, if it can even be called one, is vague, unsubstantiated, and dangerous. For a conflict of this magnitude, the U.S. needs clear, well-thought-out strategies, not a president playing diplomatic roulette with the fate of millions.